Three of the Think Like a Monk book written by Shetty. And yeah, this video is about the true meaning of success and what comes with it, which you should have seen in the title. And we begin with quote 51. If you don't care deeply, you can't go all in on the process. You're not doing it for the right reasons. You can reach your goals, get everything you ever wanted, be successful by anyone's terms, only to discover you feel lost and disconnected. Quote 52. If you're driven by intention, you will feel joy. Quote 53. Failure doesn't mean you're worthless. It means you must look for another route to achieving worthwhile goals, which is spot on. And now what I got to get out of those couple of quotes we just read out is the importance of finding joy in what your passion may be. And there are examples out there of successful people that get to where they've dreamed of, or get to where they might have, you know, I guess dreamed of. They've got to where they've always looked up to, I guess, and they've idolized people that have helped them reach that destination. And when they've actually got there, they've realized the detriment it may have had on their mental health. And a big lesson to learn is that you're better off making gradual progress in the process than going all out and pretty much tricking your brain into thinking that a certain achievement will suddenly hand you the joy you might have expected. Quote 54. Satisfaction comes from believing in the value of what you do. Quote 55. Read books on how your role models got where they are. Focus on what they did at your stage to get to success, which is a very useful skill. It's a very useful thing to do if you're trying to achieve something that other people have achieved that you look up to, um, just to guide you through that stage and just learn that there are going to be tough times in that battle, but you got to keep going. You got to keep your head up. And yeah, quote 56. In getting where you want to be, meditation may show you what you don't want to see. Quote 57. Anapanasati, the mindfulness of breathing, which is pretty much to do with meditation, if you wanted to know that. Quote 58. Modern science backs up the effectiveness of pranayama for myriad effects, including improving cardiovascular health, lowering overall stress, and even improving academic test performance. Um, um, and the phrase pranayama, I think, means meditation, and that pretty much it's where you're mindful about your breathing and you just release whatever you've gone through in the day. Release it, and you realize thoughts are just clouds, emotions are just clouds. And when you're able to release it and just relax the body and the mind, there's crazy effects it can have on your performance in the future, you could say. And yeah, it's a really good skill to develop, which we'll learn later in the book with more quotes to come. Quote 59. When you align with your breath, you learn to align with yourself through every emotion, calming, centering, and de-stressing yourself. Quote 60. Dharma, an effort to make it practical to our lives today. Quote 61. Seva, the understanding of the world's needs and selflessly serving others. Pardon me. And I just want to go back to the quote I read a couple of moments ago. And it's when you align with your breath, you learn to align with yourself through every emotion, calming, centering, and de-stressing yourself. This can be very relatable if you meditated before, which I've tried before. And you start to learn how erratic the world is around you, and you never really create time. You never really create time for yourself, and you just see billboards everywhere where you walk, like blinding lights, constant, but deflecting noise coming from everywhere. And even if I'm over exaggerating, you quickly learn through meditation how rare and gem worthy, you could say. That's a strange little term, but I made it up there. Um, and how gem worthy it is to find both outer but mainly inner peace in general. And it may not seem pleasant at first when you first experience it, but you'll notice a lot more emotional stability the more you practice it. So it's a big thing I recommend to you lot. And yeah, pretty much that's what I want to say. Quote 62. When you spend time and energy living in your Dharma, you have the satisfaction of using your best abilities and doing something that matters to the world. Living in your Dharma is a certain route to fulfillment, which is extremely true. You spend time in a place where you feel there's a purpose in what you're doing, you feel a sense of peace. And when you focus on your strengths, but also work on your weaknesses in your spare time, it's very useful, I guess. And and what you can get out of this is pretty much focusing your strengths and look at ways to effectively use it to help others or serve others, which is something we'll speak about a lot in this book, serving others, which is the job of humans to serve others, and it's something that you see a lot in the Bible as well. So yeah, pretty much that's what I wanted to explain. Quote 63. Humility is valuable, which you can't get any quote more spot on than that. You have to be humble to thrive in life. Humility is something you need. Without humility, sometimes you just aren't, you wouldn't be able to control yourself in a way. And just being humble can take you so far in life. So it's very important to maintain a good level of humility because everyone has an ego. As human beings, we have an ego. It's not a bad thing to have an ego, but there are a lot of people out there with overinflated egos, and it's all about themselves. Obviously, it's good to work on yourself, but if it's all about you and that's the way you think, it really doesn't help others, and I feel like it can really it affects you in the long term. There will be karma for it at times, so stay humble, stay grinding, very much. Quote 64. Who you are is not what you say, but how you behave. Quote 65. Saint Francis of Assisi, who was a Christian, I think he was an Italian. In fact, I can quickly search it up now. I've looked it up before, and I think he's an ancient um, Italian Christian, I think, preacher. Yeah, it says on Google he was a mystic Italian Catholic friar, um, and he was one of the largest figures of Christianity in the 1200s, you could say. And yeah, the quote says Saint Francis of Assisi preached the gospel at all times, when necessary, use words. Quote 66. Everyone has psychological nature which determines where they flourish and thrive. Dharma is using this natural inclination, the things you're good at, your thrive mode to serve others, which is something I explained recently. Quote 67. You should feel passion when the process is pleasing and your execution is skillful, and the response from others should be positive, showing that your passion has a purpose. And what I want to explain about these quotes we've just pretty much been reading out is that um, from these quotes, what I imply out of it is that a lot of us don't utilize the talents we have to the best of our abilities, and you've got to find passion and work for that passion to build over time. And that excessive passion um, is what turns average to elite if you could say. And there's other quotes coming soon that will add up to this point I've just explained. Quote 68. This is the magic formula for Dharma. Passion plus expertise plus usefulness equals Dharma. If we're only excited when people say nice things about your work, it's a sign that we're not passionate about the work itself. Quote 70. There are two lies some of us hear growing up. You never amount to anything, and you can be anything you want to be. The truth is, you can't be anything you want, but you can be everything you are. What a quote, by the way. Quote 71. Putting all this pressure on people to achieve early is not only stressful, it can actually hinder success, which is very true. And something else I want to speak about is that, well, it's what we've recently been saying about talent and working on your talents. And I just want to say it's important to build up on your talents, and you'll find that sense of freedom to serve others with purpose.